Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. I'm going to be decorating what was supposed to be my Memorial Day nails, but I got behind. I was working so hard to get everything ready for this farmer's market sale that I took all of my nails to on Saturday, and I just did not have time. I've had these done, I just have not had time to put it together in a video, and we've got some updates now with some of our stories we've been following. So I finally got some time to sit down and kind of get my thoughts together on all of this. So while I am discussing that, I am going to be just decorating up and having some fun with these nails. My family we've got almost every single branch of the military in my family except for Marines. So we are definitely a huge supporter of our armed forces, and we also are a family that lost someone in World War II. And so Memorial Day is a day to honor those that were lost in active duty. And we want to thank you for your service and thank the families that also made the ultimate sacrifice of letting their family members go and keep us all free and safe. So I thank you also. All right, so now let's get on to it. These nails are going to kind of represent the American colors, patriotic, etc. So I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions about any of the techniques I used or any of the materials I used, please feel free to ask me in the comments, or even questions about the story that we're updating today, and I'd be happy to answer those for you. So, all right, let's get on to it. Now, first, I'll get this update over pretty quickly. One of the cases we've been following is the case of Kelly Bryant. She was a 34-year-old mother out of Pontiac, Michigan, and a few months ago it was found that she had not been paying her rent. Her landlord had not heard from her. So he called in a welfare check because she had been paying rent for approximately 5 years on time every month. And all of a sudden it stopped about October this year. And so he called in a welfare check, and when the police got there, they found 3 children, ages, I believe it was 11, 12, and 15, all living in deplorable conditions in a townhouse in Pontiac. And when they dug a little further, they found that these children had been abandoned by their mother back in 2019, 2020, around there. Just horrible. The police, when they got in there, I talked about this in our last update video, said that they literally expected to find a body because the house smelled so badly when they got in there. I mean, can you imagine? Toilets were overflowing. They did not work anymore. The showers were filled with human waste. There was wrappers, mold. The girls were found to have been sleeping on pizza boxes. And the young man was found he had a mattress, but it was so nasty and covered in just waste and garbage and stains that no one would ever be able to. It was just absolutely unhealthy. These kids were so bad off that the police officer that testified about 2 weeks ago talked about that these children needed help walking out to the car, to the ambulance, things like that, etc., because their toenails were so long. They did not know how to use toothbrush. They did not know how to use hygiene products. Now, whether or not they had ever been shown or they had just forgotten because there was no adult there to keep structure, to keep rules, to keep safety. And she went through, that was her probable cause hearing, was about 2 weeks ago. They went through all the details of the case. The only defense that her lawyer had was trying to say that the kids were fine, that they seemed fine, they were able to communicate, and that they were all right. The pediatrician that saw them that evening had a different opinion if these children were all right. And I'm sure that any of us, whether you're a parent or not, most of us have enough common sense to realize that pretty much there's no way a child would be okay after being left, abandoned by their mother, literally no contact except for text messages when they needed food. And they might get it, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe it'd be a couple days, maybe she'd have to wait. Then further on, we find out that she was not only had left them, but was also still claiming them on welfare. And so she's also being charged with 3 counts of welfare fraud in the amount of $500 or over. I believe her total was around $29,000. So I'm assuming that she probably, that is probably, I'm assuming food assistance and cash assistance. But every picture we've seen of her has been, she's been put together head to toe, from hair to shoes to nails. She's wearing expensive long, the triple length. Anybody out here that gets their nails done knows the triple length nails cost a couple $100s to get done. These are expensive. They're not cheap. And meanwhile, her children are sitting, starving, living worse than most people keep their pets outside. So the good news is that after the probable cause hearing, it was decided that there was probable cause to charge Miss Kelly Bryant with 3 felony counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud in the amount of, again, like I said, $500 or over. Her total's like $29,000. And she was arraigned last week. So they're going to go forth with a jury trial. So she, and I couldn't believe it, when she walked into court, she was smiling and laughing, and I just thought, as a mother, I'd never be in this situation in the first place, first of all. Because there's so many opportunities in this world that we have to take our children somewhere if we are unable to take care of them. She had a loving family that probably that has taken them now, and I assume if there really was an issue, most likely would have helped her out, taken them whatever back then. But, I don't know. I don't know what was going through her head, because I can't imagine. And I can't imagine sitting there laughing and giggling and thinking anything was funny if I was in jail and my children were being raised by someone else. I don't get that. But so that's the good news. Is she hopefully will see some kind of justice, and this jury will see how deplorable she actually is, because there's no excuse in my eyes to do something like this. So on to our next story. This is out of Nova Scotia. We've been following the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case, where 2 small children, ages 4 and 6, just disappeared on May 2nd, I believe it was. They were at school. We've now found out through some more updated details that they were seen on Thursday, May 1st, in the afternoon around 1 o'clock with a family member. So we know that they were okay, they were alive, and they were with their family, with their parents, whatever. Well, something happened between 1 o'clock on Thursday afternoon and 10 a.m. on Friday morning when the children were reported missing. There is sketchy details about whether they were actually missing for 20 minutes when the police were called or for 2 hours. I am starting to lean towards probably more like 2 hours at the 8 a.m. mark. And when we thought a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago that the RCMP were not going to do any further searches for these children, we got a surprise, and they went back out there this weekend. Now, any of you that listened to the audio the audio of the police radio transmissions back and forth to each other during the search, Plunder has those up on her channel, and I will put the link in my description to that, so that you can hear the audio transmissions, the radio transmissions, and you can hear them see a footprint by a pipeline that is off to the west of the property, I believe. Well, they took dogs out there. They didn't find anything that day. They said it didn't lead anywhere. They kind of put that on the back burner. But this weekend, they decided to search that area again. Unfortunately, they found absolutely nothing. And this is just, I mean, how did two children that young just disappear off the face of the earth without any trace? Now, the story with them is odd also. We have the first day that we're hearing from Mom and Dad. We hear that Mom and Dad were laying in bed. They were tending to the baby. They kind of wanted to keep the baby quiet, everything quiet so the baby would sleep longer, which any of you that are parents know, do not wake the baby. If the baby's sleeping, anyone wakes that baby up and they're going to get it. Because it's very rare, especially at 18 months old, almost 2 years old. If I remember that with my children, that was about the time that they were starting to wake up early, not always taking their naps anymore. And so it became very long days of no breaks for Mom. You're tired, you're exhausted. And, thank goodness my mom always told me this is why God makes babies and puppies cute. Because they're a lot of work. And if they weren't at least cute, it'd be very hard for people to decide to take care of them. And, she was right. All jokes aside, though, Mom reported that these two kids have undiagnosed autism. And I know there's been a lot of hubbub in YouTube about people saying, well, undiagnosed isn't autistic, blah, blah, blah. Well, I am an autism mom. And I will tell you that just because your child is not diagnosed does not mean that they aren't acting and living as an autistic child. And a lot of times us as parents, especially moms, our children kind of train us without even realizing it, what they need from us, and that becomes our daily life. And so, like with my son, I had realized once I got into classes and training and things like that on how to advocate for him, how to help him, how to deal with him, that a lot of these things I was already doing because, you just do that for your kids. You do that for everybody to make everybody's life a little bit easier. And so, yeah. Now, let me take a little break, too, right now. Now, I put these little small jewels on the side, and once I got done and looked at the whole set, I did not like them at all. So, you will see at the end of this video that I ended up changing it up, and this nail ended up being just a garbage nail, and redid them because I was not feeling these jewels like this. So, they just looked messy to me, and no matter what I did, the glue, which I love this glue, don't get me wrong, the jewels kept kind of shimmying off to the side. It's self-leveling, so they like to kind of move sometimes. So you have to be a bit quick, which is why a lot of times I don't do this many jewels in a row. I should have. I probably would have liked it more if I had done like 1, 2, 3, cured. Back to Jack and Lily. Well, now it's been since May 2nd. We are at June 2nd. We're an entire month since these little children have been missing. And I've seen a lot of people kind of compare it to the Sebastian Rogers case, which I really and truly do not think it's anywhere close. Two completely different sets of parents, kinds of parents. And also, he was 15 years old. Now, granted, he had autism, but I am here to say that a lot of autistic children are a lot more capable than people realize, especially when they become teenagers. And you have someone with a brain that processes and thinks a little bit differently, and now you have hormones coming in. It's not fun, okay? It is not fun, let me tell you. But, you get through it. But these are little children. And little children don't often wander far away from their parents. It would be scary to them. It would be, And so, I just keep thinking of that. And also, now we've had search dogs, we've had search teams, we've had all these, they really have not stopped. And They found absolutely nothing. Nothing. And I know that someone said that they had found a pink blanket or something or some other things, but I swear, and I need to go back through, I swear there were items found by the searchers, but Ellie had gone back and talked to Daniel about it, and I thought that either he or they had said these were items of clothing or items of the children's that were given to law enforcement to give the dogs a scent, a specific scent, because some of the dogs were scent specific. And that once they let the dogs sniff them, they just dropped them where they were and let the dogs go. And so that's why these were found. So they aren't from them going off into these woods. They were from searchers. That's what I believe. I swear I heard it. I'm going to try and find it somewhere in there. Anyway, what an absolute mess, though. And we have Mom, who has just disappeared off the face of the earth, only to be seen going into her Facebook account, shutting it down, and then a day or so later, activating it again, but making sure that she has put that she is single, because God knows we want everyone to know that we're single when our children are missing, correct? That bothers me. And maybe she's just very immature. Maybe she's whatever, I don't know, but that bugs me. Now, something else I noticed is in the pictures that they're showing of the children, they do look well taken care of. They look clean. There's quite a few pictures where you see them in their pajamas and their hair is wet, and so you know they're getting bathed, they're being taken care of. But, and I can't believe I'm saying this, there's another channel that I don't often agree with or listen to very often, but I did listen to her the other day, and she said something that made a lot of sense to me, and I had noticed too. When we see the pictures of the children, the home that they're in is not a trailer. And it doesn't look well used or well worn as the RCMP had reported. The kitchen that they had talked to the parents of the children in, which is the trailer on the property over on Gerlich Road. And I believe that they were living with her mother before that, or someone. And so, I'm just wondering, is this kind of what happened? So she goes from living at her mother's home. This is just a theory. It's very nice, very clean, what have you. But where there was a lot of help to take care of her children. There was another adult. And now we're out on this property. It's different. She even looks different. She has a baby. She's in a home that's not that nice. That's, it's country versus city probably. And she's had this baby and she's tired. And she's exhausted. And I get that. I totally get that. Anyone that's been a parent knows that 16, 18-month-old time is welcome to the Thunderdome. Because now we're walking. Now we're getting into everything. We are not taking naps all the time. We are our own little person. And that is exhausting, okay? And so I get it. But I wonder, were these kids taking care of themselves a lot more than we realize? Mom said, well, we were kind of in and out of sleep. And did that happen often? Part of me wonders, were they getting up to get ready for school? Because they maybe had to do that a lot themselves. When Daniel talked about Jack taking off his pull-up and that they couldn't find it, and he didn't understand why they hadn't found it. And I thought, at 4, my son wouldn't have done that by himself. I would have had to help him. And 4-year-olds, while they are little kids now instead of babies, they still do need parents to help them do those things. So that kind of bothered me. And the fact that when Mom spoke, she wanted to make sure that there were certain things. It was almost like she was trying to convince us, I do take care of my children. I'm very aware of what's going on with them. I'm careful. I have rules. I have this. I have that. And so it makes me wonder, was this a topic of conversation? Was this something that she was questioned about by family, by friends, whoever? Are you taking care of these kids as well as you're supposed to? Are you paying attention as well as you're supposed to? And again, like I said, I get it. It's exhausting. And 2 children exhausted me. I can't imagine 3, okay? And you have 2 that are on the spectrum, maybe not diagnosed, but that is exhausting. I was exhausted with 1 kid on the spectrum. I can't imagine 2. And now you have this baby. But I just wonder if there were many mornings when Lilly and Jack were maybe nobody got up. Or, we've heard reports that Daniel was the primary caregiver because mom had postpartum, or what he believed was postpartum. Now, was that part of the reason why they're no longer together? That he's angry because he believes that she didn't do what she was supposed to do, and she believes because he was home that morning that he should have taken care of them. He should have gotten up. And is this simply a matter of they didn't get up? And so these children decide to take it upon themselves to get up and get dressed or whatever, get their backpack, and walk out the door. They may not have had any concept of time and know that they'd already missed the bus, what have you. And all the reports are that the scent dogs found scent all the way up into the end of that drive at the road, and then it stops. Did they get out there and someone picked them up? That's what I think. I don't think that these people did anything to their children. I think that they were very negligent, that they didn't pay attention, that they gave in to their tired, and they gave in to their I don't feel like it. And you just can't do that when you have littles. You just can't. And believe me, we all feel that way. If there's a parent that tells you they've never felt that way, that's not true. It's impossible. Children are exhausting, okay? If you're doing it right, they're exhausting. And that's my thought. And so now we're at the blame game. Mom runs off. She can't believe that he would do this to her, blame her, whatever, and vice versa. And meanwhile, he's the only one still out there trying to make sure that they're okay. Trying to make sure that the search goes on. And, I'll tell you, he took a lie detector test. It's been said that RCMP gave him a lie detector test, and he passed. He did nothing wrong. So what happened to these 2 little kids? My gut is telling me that the wrong person noticed that these little kids were out on their own quite often. And who knows? Maybe they had seen them in town. Maybe they had seen them out in their yard. It's all it takes is the wrong person to notice that there's an opportunity there, and they're gone. There would have to be some kind of sign in the woods. There just would. And it's so very sad. And I think that that's what we're seeing in mom and dad is guilt over knowing that they should have been more aware, that they should have gotten their behinds up out of bed when they heard Jack in the kitchen, when Lilly kept coming in. Was she coming in to remind them about school? Who knows? It's so sad, and I hope for the people that care about those kids, even mom and dad. I hope they get answers soon, because I really think that what we're seeing right now is absolute guilt over being neglectful, and both of them just maybe wishing that the other one had gotten up and blaming the other one, saying, well, you should have gotten up. No, you should have gotten up. Because if either of them had gotten up at 8 a.m. when they heard them playing outside, whatever they heard, we would not be here where we're at, and that's just heartbreaking to me. Just absolutely heartbreaking. So, everybody have a great day. Have a great Manic Monday, because that's how our days go, and I will talk to you later with more updates.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCA.